Yes, I'm Ellinor Svensson, and I work as a traffic manager and has been responsible for the environmental questions since 2011. First, some small quick facts about our traffic. We operate in Gothenburg and in the harbor of Gothenburg and in the archipelago. We have 16 vessels, 14 is owned by Styrso bolaget, and 2 vessels is owned by the PTA Västtrafik. We have 104 employees, and the turnover is about 162 million Swedish crowns in 2016. We have been running this traffic since the 1860s, so it has been for a long time. Styrso bolaget was established in 1922 and is owned today by Transdev. In the archipelago, we have 8 vessels. The long journey down to Vrångö takes 60 minutes. If you're going with our high-speed catamarans, it takes 30 minutes. And it travels about 2.2 million passengers each year. This is our fleet. I can't point with this one, can I? No. There is the high-speed catamarans Rive and Vale. They can carry 163 passengers, and the big ones can carry 450 passengers. And in Gothenburg City, we have 2 lines, 2 routes. One short route that's going across the river and one along the river. Along the river takes 30 minutes, and across the river takes 7 minutes. We carry about 2.4 million passengers each year, and this year we hope that we're going to reach up to 2.8 million passengers. There is the river fleet. Elveli and Elfrida is the ships that is owned by the PTA Västtrafik, and they were built to carry bicycles over the river. It will also run the freight traffic. I'm here today to talk about environmental impact, and everything we do makes an impact. But the goal is to make a smaller one. And how could we do that and still live in the same way as we do today? If everyone would live like a Swedish person, we need 4 Earth globes. But that's not going to be a possibility. So we have to start to think how we can live and create a more sustainable living and a sustainable traffic. For us on Styrso bolaget, we talk about eco-shipping. And eco-shipping is when you take every small question that impacts our traffic and make a plan how to work with every question. You have, should I say? Yes, how do we work with wash problems? How do we work with the hulls? Which kind of paint do we use? And we start to take every small question and look if there is another way we can work. Is there a more environmental friendly product, like paint? Even if the paint is legal, is it the best paint that we can use? Could we change the way we work? Instead of using chemicals, could we perhaps clean with steam instead? Or, as in the paint question, in the harbor, we don't have any problems with fouling, so we don't paint our hulls. But in the archipelago, we use the correct paint for our traffic. And perhaps we can remove the product. Don't use it at all. Our goal on Styrso bolaget is that we want to perform the same traffic as we do today, within the same timetable, but with less energy. So during the past years, we have been working with a lot of questions. We have worked with blastings of the hulls, anti-fouling, lead lightning, heating. We used heat from the engines to heat the passengers' interior. And if it's possible to go with the electricity from land, we use that one. But the biggest impact that we have is our fuel consumption. So in 2010, we started to work with eco-driving. And the result? Styrso has, since 2010, reduced the fuel consumption by 20 to 25%. It means that if we would drive the same way in 2016 as we did in 2010, we have to use 25% more fuel. It's the same amount of fuel as for one of our ships, Silvertana, to go 2.5 way around the world each year. Styrso has chosen to educate ourselves, and the reason for that is that there was no training available for the traffic that we perform. And by educate ourselves, we have used the know-how in our company to make the best education. But to be able to do so, we needed some kind of measuring equipment. So we installed a system called BlueFlow, which measures momentary. It's clearly presented for the masters, so they can see how the fuel consumption varies when they are driving the ship. And it's also possible to analyze afterwards. Because it's when you start analyzing things, when you started to analyze your own behavior, that something is going to happen with you. It's when you start thinking about what you are doing that you're more likely to get a result that's going to change the way you behave. Because it's a big difference from doing things because you theoretically knew that it's going to make a difference if you do like this, from actually doing something in a certain way because you knew that it makes a difference. It's like you're not going to lose weight by buying a scale, and you're not going to get fit by just buying a training card, and you're not going to lose any fuel consumption by just buying and measuring equipment. So you have to start working with it. And we created a BlueFlow group, which consisted of 4 masters from 4 different kinds of ships, the technical manager and me, and we started to discuss questions about fuel consumption. Is it true that the fuel consumption is going to decrease, or if we do like this? Some of the truth that we had is not true anymore, and some of the things that we didn't believe in is true. Here you can see a result from the harbor traffic. There is 2 ships going back and forth. They have the same weather condition. Everything is the same. One of the masters used 46.3 liters, and the other one is using 32 liters per hour. So they're going in the same weather condition. Everything is the same. It's just the driving style that is different. And you can see that something has happened down here at 10:40 to 11:40. And the thing that happens is that the master takes a break. We have also seen that the fuel consumption, in the beginning, a lot of people told us the only way to save fuel is to speed down. You have to go slow. But if you see the results on back here, you can see that the person who has the highest speed is not the person with the highest consumption. And the person with the lowest speed is not the person with the lowest fuel consumption. So the speed is not the answer to saving fuel. So we took this model, the Swedish Styrso model, and we went down to Australia to see if you can use the same behavior down there. And of course, the result is similar. Here you can see a picture of a master who shows another master how the equipment works. On the Kokotow Island route, we lowered the fuel consumption by 22%. And here is a picture of the Darling Harbour route, which takes an hour. And you can see the fuel consumption graphs up there and down here is not the same. The difference between these two drivers are 53%. And the funny thing is that the master that had the lowest fuel consumption, he's doing the route faster than the other one, 1 minute faster.
Ellinor, you told us about this gorgeous environmental work you've done. Have you had any problems with the employees? Has it been hard to convince them about this kind of work?
In the beginning, we had some problems. It was one of the ships that the master asked me when I come onto the ship. He was like, "Are you going to come onto my ship and teach me how to drive my ship most efficient?" And I replied, "No, not of course, but you are. You're going to teach us how to drive this ship most efficient." And in the beginning, we had some issues with some masters that just thought of we are, what do you call it, look at their work. But they have come around. Today it's not an issue anymore. And we even have our masters that are more interesting in environmental questions in the big pictures, or what you say. So they are telling us, why don't we have parking for bicycles, and why don't we use electricity more? So that's the future.
You have plenty of passengers every day. How many?
In the harbour city and the crossing line over the river, it's about 33,000 persons that's going back and forth.
Because I think that people
during
today
a week,
is very anxious about the environmental questions. Do they have any demands on the ships or the vessels or the boats they go with you?
Yes, I think that's the mindset of the passengers in the harbor traffic. They think that the passenger ships is not environmental friendly, but it's not true, because if you stand on Brunnsparken and you're thinking about how should I go to Lindholmen, the most environmental friendly way to go and the fastest way to go is to go by Styrso bolaget with one of our ships. It costs less fuel than if you go with bus.
So how do you use this environmental work in your marketing, for example? Do you do that?
I think that we are not that good in that, but we are hoping to be. So it's.
Thank you so much for having you here and talking about the environmental work you do, and also for taking all those 1,800 participants to Donsö now these 2 days at Donsö Shipping Meet. Thank you so much, Ellinor Svensson at Styrso bolaget.
Thanks.